Hello, I am Pramod Kumar and today we will study certain prepositions on, upon, over, above, in, into, in, within, by, with. Sometimes we have some confusion which one to use, right? So we will try to clarify it. On. On generally means that two things are touching each other, right? They are in contact. My book is on the table means book is touching the table. My book is on the table. Cup of tea is on the table, center table. Or my pillow is on the sofa, like this. So generally on, use of on indicates contact, touching. But certain other uses also we can see. First of all, on which shows physical contact, touching, we have discussed. What is that? My book is on the table. The cup of tea is on the center table. My pillow is on the sofa, like this, right? Then some other uses also we will see. What are those? My mother relies on me for financial support, right? My mother relies on me for financial support. So here, though on has been used, this is mother, on has been used, it is not showing physical contact, touch. What is it showing? It is called abstract context. Here, my mother relies on me for financial support. My mother is very old. She doesn't have any independent source of income. I work, I earn. So, she relies on me for financial support. Means, she depends on me. She is dependent on me so far as financial support is concerned. So, here, on has been used in an abstract context. Abstract means that thing which we cannot touch, we cannot see, right? We cannot feel with our senses, we cannot touch, see, feel, hear and taste, right? Abstract context. Then when we say A is on B, it means there is A is on B, a cup of is on the table, a cup is on the table, this means cup and table are touching each other, right? Then here in the sense that we were talking of contact, write on a piece of paper, right? Write on a piece of paper. So here there is contact, touch. Pen will touch paper when we are writing. Write on a piece of paper, right? Then when we go, what happens? Several times on and upon are interchangeable. They can be used interchangeably. On for upon for on. My book is on the table. My book is upon the table, right? My book is on the shelf. My book is upon the shelf, like this. My pen is on the sofa. My pen is upon the sofa. Like that we can say, right? But there are certain things where we cannot use one in lieu of the other. So let us discuss that so that it becomes more clear. And what are those instances? See, Ram is working on his computer. We cannot say Ram is working upon his computer. right? On his computer means while working on the computer, Ram is touching his computer, right? Like I am working on this whiteboard. So while working, I am touching this whiteboard, right? Then the house was on fire. We cannot say the house was upon fire. The house was on fire means fire flames were touching the house. Fire flames were touching the house, right? The house was on fire. Then wedding ring on her fingers. Wedding ring on her fingers. Here it means her finger is surrounded. Her finger is surrounded. What? Surrounded, wrapped around. Her finger is wrapped around with wedding ring. Here, wedding ring upon her finger, no. Wedding ring on her finger because the wedding ring is touching her finger. It's surrounding her finger, right? And next could be the photo is hanging. The photo is hanging on the wall, right? The photo is hanging on the wall means it is hanging from the wall, right? The photo is hanging on the wall, it is hanging from the wall, right? So Ram is working on his computer, he is touching the computer while working. The house was on fire means fire flames were touching the house. Wedding ring on her finger was surrounded with that wedding ring. The photo is hanging on the wall. The photo is hanging from the wall, right? But once upon a time, right? All of us know, whenever we start a story, mostly it starts with once upon a time there was a king or there was a queen, whatever. So here, in this case, we cannot say once on a time. It's always once upon a time. Upon, up, on. Right? So, upon, up, on. Ram mounted or Ram jumped upon and mounted his horse. Right? Ram jumped upon and mounted his horse. That way we can say. Right? Then winter is upon us. So here another angle we are getting. Winter is upon us, and so we need to buy blankets. It means winter is upon us means winter is very close. Suppose winter starts in December, so we are in October or November. Winter is upon us means approaching very fast, coming very close, very soon to start. Winter is upon us, and so we need to buy blankets. Here we don't say winter is on us, right? Then when we have discussed that on and upon can be used interchangeably, but there is one important thing. If we are more formal or more sophisticated, then generally we use upon. When we are more formal in communication or more sophisticated, we use upon. But these are the clear-cut cases where only on fits in. These are the cases, right? So now we go ahead to over and above. What is over and above? What is the difference, right? See, over, what does it do? It conveys a sense of movement and also a sense of covering some large area or larger area. So over we need to movement plus covering a large area. So how do we say that? A plane flew over the ocean. A plane flew over the ocean. So here movement is also there and covering an area is also there. Same way we can say a bird flew over his head. He was sitting outside his house, he was sitting in a chair, a bird flew over his head, right? So movement is also there and covering of some area is also there. In case of over, conveys a sense of movement as well as a sense of covering a large area or some certain area. The plane flew over the ocean, a bird flew over, and somebody has come, right? So I say, please sit over there. Please sit over there. I am indicating some place, some space for the guest to sit down. Please sit over there, right? A bird flew over, sense of covering, right? Then what is above? Above, mainly we could use it in two senses. One thing is higher or above the other, right? Suppose right, so we can see B is above C, A is above B. If it is like this, right? A, B, C, three things are there or three buildings are there or whatever. B is above C and A is above B, if this is the direction. And this could also be used for indicating positions, like a chief minister is above a deputy chief minister, right? So here position, a chief minister is above a deputy chief minister. If deputy chief minister is here, then chief minister is here. Chief minister is above deputy chief minister, if this is the hierarchy, right? So above means in a higher place. That house is on a hill, above a hill. That house is above a hill means this is the hill. If this is the hill, this is the house above the hill. If B is the hill, A is the house, then house is above the hill. And a chief minister is above deputy chief minister, position like this. Something is higher than other. And also hints of a certain position. This is the position, deputy CM, CM. A manager is above a deputy manager, right? A manager is above a deputy manager. So we have done this over and above also. Over means movement plus covering certain area or some large area. And above means higher and some indicates some position also. Now we go to in and into. In means there is no movement, right? Like I am in this room, right? I am in this room. It means something is already there inside, right? Something or somebody is already there inside, in, no movement. Like I am in this room, a toy is in the box or twice in the box, or Ram is in the library. So all these show that there is no movement, means I am in this room, means I am already in this room, right? Or twice in the box, a twice already in the box, there is no movement. Ram is in this library, in the library. Ram is in the library already. There is no movement, right? But when you go to into, movement is there, right? Movement is there. And how is that? I am in this room, right? So I will write it. I came into this room. So while I was coming into this room, there was movement. In, no movement, no movement. While I was coming into the room, this room from that door, there was movement. In my coming, I came into this room. In the process of my coming into this room, there was movement. I was outside, I entered into this room. I came into this room, right? Second one, a toy is in the box. Ram put the toy into the box, right? So when Ram is putting the toy in the box, there is movement. This is the box, this is the toy I am putting. Ram is putting the toy into the box. This is the box, this is the toy. Ram is putting the, so when Ram is putting, there is a movement in the course of putting it into the box. Ram is in the library. So Ram entered into the library. So when Ram was entering, there was movement. Ram cannot enter into the library without movement. So into shows movement. In shows no movement, right? There is no movement. And here into, in, to describe something, somebody which is already there. And into, mostly this is movement to the inside. Suppose I am in this room. This is a room, I am in this room. Somebody is coming. Somebody is coming. So when that person is coming, mostly the movement is towards the inside. When we use into, mostly or generally the movement is to the inside. From the outside to the inside, right? Movement to the inside. There is a movement, Ram came into the room, put the toy into the box. Generally means movement toward the inside of the room. Movement toward the inside of the room, right? Then Ram walked into the room, same thing. Movement into, Ram came into the room, walked into the room or whatever, walked into the library, right? Now we can form one sentence which has both, right? In and into both, in order to make the meaning more clear of in and into. You see this carefully. After waiting for 15 minutes in the waiting hall, Ram walked into the manager's office. Right? So here what is happening? After waiting for 15 minutes in the waiting hall, Ram walked into the manager's office. So when Ram was waiting in the waiting hall for 15 minutes, there was no movement. He was waiting in the waiting hall. But after waiting for 15 minutes, Ram said, it is enough. Now I should meet the manager. I have not been called. So Ram walked into the manager's office. When Ram is walking to the manager's office, there is movement. Here there is no movement. Ram is waiting in the waiting hall for 15 minutes. No movement into movement. Right? So this is clear to you. Now we go to in and within. So what is that? In and within. In and within. Within, generally within, it doesn't specify exact time or location, right? It gives some approximation, it gives some estimate or some approximation, right? So when I say I will reach you within 3 hours, I will reach you within 3 hours. It means it's not precise. These 3 hours are not precise, are not exact. Sorry. I will reach you within 3 hours means, within means 3 hours, not precise. It's approximate 3 hours, right? Then another example could be, it shows some boundary, right? The flower pot lies within the garden. It means, once again, it's not exact. The flower pot lies within the garden. Suppose this room is the garden, the flower pot lies within the garden. So it doesn't say exact location of the flower pot, but it says in this area it will be somewhere. So approximate, estimate, not exact, within, right? So within is used for an estimate or to show something inside boundary. Inside boundary, the flower pot lies within the garden. So this is a boundary, garden. This is a boundary, means garden is a boundary. Within that precinct, within that area it will be found within. But it's not exact. It's not exact. It is estimate, approximation where it will be found, right? We will arrive there in 3 hours, within 3 hours. Means it could be less, it could be more. Then Wednesday is within the sale period. Suppose I say Wednesday is within the sale period, right? Suppose 15-day sale period is there, so Wednesday falls within that, but it's not exact. Here sale period is not exact from which date to which date, but this is said that Wednesday is within the sale period. Suppose sale period is of 15 days, Wednesday falls in that. But once we use within, sale period is not exact, not specified, right? Then something definite, something definite. Ram works in the Indian Army, right? So here it is definite where Ram works. Ram works in the Indian Army. It is very clear, definite. He works in the Indian Army. There is no doubt, there is no approximation, there is no estimation. It is exactness of information. Ram works in the Indian Army, right? In something definite to substitute into and for inclusion. And for inclusion, what is that? Ram is in the English class, right? Ram is in the English class. He is included in the English class, and there is a definiteness that he is in the English class, in no other class, right? Definiteness and exactness and inclusiveness. He is in. Ram is in the English class, included. Ram works in the Indian Army, exactness and also inclusiveness. He is included in the Indian Army. And I can say we live in Bihar. So here also it shows exactness. Where we live in Bihar, right? And it includes, in Bihar it includes us, we. It includes, right? So that's the major difference between the within doesn't specify exact time location, give some estimate approximation, but here exactness is there, inclusiveness is there, right? Now we go to the next one, and what is that? In within, right? So what is the difference between in within? In within we have done. Now we will do by with, right? By with. So what is the difference between by with? By is used mostly for the doer of the action, right? Normally by is used for doer of action, right? Who acts in respect of who acts, and indicates who acts, used in a passive sentence. By, in passive voice sentence, right? Doer, doer, D-O-E-R, doer of action. It relates to doer of action, it relates to who acts, and it relates to, it is used in passive sentence, right? And here it shows who performed the action. Who performed the action? Same thing, doer of action or who performed the action, same thing. Like I can say, this house was built by my father. This house was built by my father. So this is a passive sentence. What is the active? My father built this house. Active. This house was built by my father. So mostly by is used in passive sentences, and this house was built by my father. It means my father is the doer of the action. He did it. He is the doer of the action, right? He is the person who performed the action, my father, by, right? Then Ram paid his bills. Ram paid his bills by cash. So how it was done? By cash. By. What is with? Where is with used? With is used means what was used to act. What was used to act means what facilitated the activity, what helped the activity. And the example could be, how do we do that? How do we do that? With also could be used for individuals, animals, objects, organizations. By can be used also in case of individuals, animals, objects, organizations. He was rusticated by the university. By university is an organization, right? And he was dismissed by his employer. Suppose employer is a proprietary concern, the person, he was dismissed by his owner, his business owner, right? With what is used to act. He cleaned the blackboard with duster. I clean the board with duster. So I am taking the help of duster for cleaning, right? Now let us with what is used to act. So now we can take one sentence. By is used mainly to indicate a person or a thing responsible for action. Responsible. With is used to denote something that is required to do that act. I clean the board with duster. I take the help of duster for cleaning the board. Or I write with a pen. I take the help of pen for writing on this board. Right? And by person who acts. Right? So I hope you found it easy to understand. In case of any difficulty, you may please approach me on my email ID, which will be there at the thumbnail to the video. Thank you very much.